Victoria seems to have been in an accident. Mom, can you head to the hospital right away? I'll be on my way too.
Over the phone, the anxious voice of my son, Lucas, echoed. Today, my high school-aged granddaughter, Victoria, was supposed to come over to the house by herself. Lucas's call came just as I was coating chicken in flour to make fried chicken for lunch.
Oh no. I'll be right there. Lucas, hang in there.
Though Lucas tried to calm me, my heart was pounding as if it would burst out of my chest. With the hospital name Lucas gave me, I looked up where it was. Taking a taxi would be faster. I hurried to get ready and was about to leave the house when the doorbell at the entrance rang.
Grandma, are you okay?
Opening the door, to my surprise, there stood Victoria. Victoria as usual, not appearing to be injured at all.
What? What happened? I heard you were in an accident and taken to the hospital. An accident? Me? Must be a mix-up. As you can see, I'm perfectly fine.
Seeing Victoria's surprised face, I too was perplexed.
Eh? What's going on?
My name is Grace. While making breakfast, I heard my husband Ethan's voice from the garden.
Grace, grab that thing.
Scissors? Here you go.
Thank you.
Such simple everyday thank yous are the source of my life and happiness. Ethan and I got married when I was 25, and we've been together for 42 years now. So, I almost always know what Ethan wants to say. But it's only been in the last 3 years that we've been able to spend quality time together as a couple.
I only know work, so I'll leave the household to you, Grace.
With those words from Ethan, I became a housewife after we married. Ethan, who worked at a securities company during his career, was very busy. During the weekdays, it was rare for him to come home while the kids were awake, and he often worked on weekends too. Ethan worked hard for our family. We have only one child, our son Lucas, but Lucas was able to attend private schools from middle school through college because of Ethan's hard work. Dad, thanks for always working late. Just make sure you take care of your health. I often said this to busy Ethan.
It's okay. Thanks to Grace's nutritious cooking, I'm in good health.
Ethan laughed heartily, his mouth wide open. Seeing my family smile, that's always been my source of happiness, unchanged from the past to now. Ethan ended up working until the retirement age of 65. Thanks to that, we have enough savings to live comfortably in our old age. I really look up to Ethan for that, but he never boasts. Instead, he's always thankful to me for taking on the household duties and supporting our home. I truly met a wonderful person. And then, after quitting work, we finally started our relaxed life together, but before we knew it, 3 years had flown by. Time really does fly. Looking at the garden, the roses that until recently were just leaves had bloomed into many bright red flowers. Ethan seemed to have noticed the same scene by coincidence. He cut some roses, carefully removed the thorns, and handed them to me.
Lucas and his family are coming over today, right? Put these in a vase for them.
That's right. Today was the day Lucas's family was supposed to come visit.
They're beautiful. Victoria will love them.
Lucas has a family of 3, his wife Layla and their 9th grade daughter, Victoria. The roses planted in our garden were chosen and planted by Victoria herself when she was little. To us, these roses are a living memorial of Victoria, and it's touching to see them bloom beautifully every year. Victoria herself says roses are her favorite flowers, and she looks forward to their bloom every year. I can't wait to see Victoria's innocent joy. Both Ethan and I are thrilled. The Lucas family lives an hour's drive from our house and visits us once every 2 months. While some lament not seeing their grandchildren often, Lucas, perhaps out of consideration for us, lives just the right distance away, making it easy for them to visit. Being able to spend relaxed time with Ethan and seeing Lucas and Victoria. I feel like this is the best life for me. One evening, Ethan talked to me with a laugh.
Grace, is it okay if I go golfing overnight with some former colleagues next Saturday?
Golf was something Ethan did socially during his working years, but since retiring, he's become quite passionate about it, now one of his proudly claimed hobbies.
Of course.
Have you found a nice place?
It's at the neighboring state. Apparently, there's a famous hotel right near the golf course. We're thinking of having a party there, since we're going anyway.
That sounds fun. Have a great time. He must have a lot to catch up on with colleagues he shared both good and hard times with during his career. Ethan was unusually humming a tune. If Ethan's not here, I guess I can keep the cooking simple. What should I do by myself? Suddenly having time to myself, I'm a bit at a loss. That's right. I wonder if Lucas and his family could come over. Right away, I called Lucas. Could you come over this Saturday?
That day, I have to work. Layla has plans too, so it might be difficult. Sorry, Mom.
No, it's all good. Just come by when you can. Everyone's so busy. What a shame. Then, I faintly heard Victoria's voice over the phone.
Victoria says she can come by herself. Is that okay?
An unexpected offer. Of course. But it's your first time coming alone, isn't it? Are you sure you'll be okay? I worry about Victoria, who has been brought up so carefully as an only child.
I'll be fine, Grandma. I'm a high schooler now. I commute by train every day.
Before I knew it, Victoria had taken over the phone from Lucas. That's right. Well, call me if anything happens. Then, from a distance, Lucas's voice.
Dad says she can stay over the weekend. Grandma, is that okay?
Victoria's voice was tinged with excitement.
Of course. I'm happy too.
My voice rose in excitement too. Thinking about it, because they lived just the right distance away, Victoria had never stayed over at our house before. So, the fact that Victoria would be staying over for the first time filled me with indescribable joy. After hanging up, I bragged to Ethan about it. Then Ethan genuinely seemed upset.
Next time, make sure she stays when I'm around, too.
You should say that yourself. We doted on our only grandchild, Victoria, excessively. The much-anticipated weekend came around quickly.
I'll buy lots of souvenirs and come back early tomorrow.
Ethan said this as he left. The recipient of the many souvenirs would undoubtedly be Victoria. Ethan seemed somehow adorable to me. Now, I've got to get ready too. Since I heard from Lucas that Victoria would arrive around after lunch, I finished cleaning and laundry early in the morning and dashed to the local supermarket as soon as it opened.
Lunch will be fried chicken, and for dinner, pot au feu and hamburgers. Oh, and grape jelly for dessert sounds nice.
Knowing what Victoria liked to eat, I kept adding ingredients to my basket one after another. Then I rushed home to start preparing lunch and getting dinner ready. The clock pointed to 12 p.m. She'll be here soon. Just as the bread finished baking and I began to coat the chicken in flour, the phone rang. Oh. It's Lucas.
Hello, what's up?
Then, I heard an anxious voice from Lucas, which I would never have imagined.
Victoria was supposed to visit today, right? Seems like she's been in an accident. Mom, can you head to the hospital right away? I'm on my way too. Oh no. I'll be right there. Lucas, hang in there.
Though I tried to calm Lucas down, My heart was pounding as if it would leap out of my chest. I looked up the hospital's location with the name Lucas gave me. Taking a taxi would be faster. I hurried to get ready, and just as I was about to leave the house, the doorbell at the entrance rang.
Okay, just about to leave and, huh?
Opening the door, to my astonishment, there stood Victoria.
Grandma, are you okay? Wait, where are you going?
Seeing Victoria, as usual, took me by surprise.
The hospital, Victoria?
I had Victoria turn around to check she wasn't injured. What? What happened? Seeing Victoria's surprised face, I too was puzzled.
I heard you were in an accident and taken to the hospital.
An accident? Me? You must be mistaken. I'm perfectly fine, as you can see. Victoria said this and hugged me. Feeling Victoria's warmth, I was reassured.
Thanks for coming safely. Come on in. You must be hungry, right?
When I told her lunch was fried chicken, Victoria made a peace sign with both hands and was delighted. I'm relieved. The accident must have been some mistake. Maybe the hospital made a mix-up. Thinking this, I called the hospital Lucas had mentioned while Victoria was washing her hands, just to be sure. However, after explaining the situation, the hospital staff told me that no one had been brought in due to an accident in the first place. What does that mean? Where did Lucas hear that Victoria had been in an accident? The mystery only deepened, prompting me to call Lucas. Victoria just came over. She wasn't in any accident.
Eh? She wasn't in an accident?
Lucas sounded taken aback. I told Lucas that Victoria wasn't injured at all and that I had called the hospital, which confirmed that no woman had been brought in due to an accident.
That's strange.
Who told you?
Layla did. I'll check with her and get back to you.
All right. For now, Victoria is safe and sound.
That's a relief. I was scared to death.
We were relieved, albeit puzzled, that Victoria was safe.
Grandma, I'm starving.
Before I knew it, Victoria had made herself comfortable on the sofa. Seeing Victoria pat her stomach to signal her hunger, I couldn't help but laugh. Sorry, I'll make it now, just wait a bit. I hurried to start making the fried chicken.
Let's eat. Oh, right.
Saying this, Victoria took out her mobile phone to take a photo of the fried chicken. You don't need to take pictures. Even the plate is plain. I hadn't expected my cooking to be photographed and regretted hastily plating it. Unperturbed, Victoria began to eat with a big smile.
It's delicious. I'm happy.
Seeing Victoria happily stuffing her face, I felt happy too. Thank you. You're about the only one who gets this excited.
Grandpa must feel lucky every day eating Grandma's cooking.
Come to think of it. That reminds me, Dad used to say he was healthy because of my cooking. I was about to say it aloud but decided against it.
What were you going to say, Grandma? You look so pleased with yourself.
It's a secret. We enjoyed a lively lunch. While cleaning up after lunch, Lucas called.
Mom, sorry about earlier. I was so flustered I didn't check with the hospital properly before telling you. The accident story was a lie made up by Layla.
Lucas sounded somber. A lie? Why would she need to lie about that? I'm so confused.
Sorry, I'm still trying to sort things out myself.
While Lucas began to explain, he suddenly paused. Wait, let me move to another room. As Lucas revealed shocking truths, my mind reeled. Noticing Victoria's curious gaze, I feigned calmness and smiled at her before leaving the living room to rush to my room, where I closed the door. After taking a few deep breaths, I steeled myself and brought the mobile phone to my ear. It's not a joke, is it? About the affair. Yes. When I confronted her, she admitted it. I could hear Lucas sniffling over the phone. Lucas had planned to work overtime today, but when his schedule was canceled, he found himself able to return home by mid-afternoon. He reached out to Layla, who had said she was going out with a friend.
I'll be home soon. What time will you be back? Since I'm coming back early, why don't we visit my parents' house together?
Layla, in a panicked tone, said that Victoria had been in an accident and urged him to go directly to the hospital from work before hanging up. She then sent a message with the hospital name and said she couldn't talk because she was on a train. Lucas had believed her and called me with the information. However, it turned out to be a lie she concocted on the spot to cover up her affair. After learning from me that Victoria hadn't been in an accident, Lucas decided to return home. He found a black car parked in front of the house, with Layla talking amicably to a man inside. Upon closer inspection, the man's hand was seen tightly holding her through the car window.
Layla!
Layla turned pale upon noticing Lucas, and the car sped off immediately. Seeing Layla's reaction, it clicked. She wasn't out with a friend. She had brought her lover to our empty house while Victoria and I were away. Lucas's trembling voice was heart-wrenching. When I pressed her, she confessed right away. She said she lied to buy time because she knew her affair would be exposed if I came home then. Hearing Lucas's strained voice, I was at a loss for words. After a moment of silence, I spoke as calmly as I could. Lucas, remember we're on your side. You have our support. But you are Victoria's father. She needs you to be strong now more than ever. Lucas cried for a while, as I waited quietly for him to stop. Eventually, he seemed to gather his thoughts and said,
I'll sort things out today. Can I come over afterward?
He sounded determined. Of course. This is your home too. Come over any time, even if it's in the middle of the night. We'll be waiting.
Thank you.
He said that, then hung up the phone. Why did it have to come to this? I felt like throwing my mobile phone against the wall, but that wouldn't change reality. What I could do now was to be there for Victoria. And to wait for Lucas. I had to stand firm. Encouraging myself, I returned to the living room where Victoria was waiting. There, Victoria was leaning on the sofa, breathing softly in her sleep. She must have been tired from coming here all by herself for the first time. Seeing Victoria's face, still showing her youthfulness in her sleep, I couldn't help but tear up. It's okay, we will protect you and Lucas. I made a strong resolution. After a while, Victoria woke up. I haven't napped like this in a while. It's such a waste since I came all the way to Grandma's. Even as she said this, Victoria yawned deeply. It's okay, it's a holiday after all. You should relax.
No. Time is limited.
You say such wise things. So, what shall we do?
Teach me how to cook. I want to be able to make delicious food like you, Grandma.
Seeing Victoria's eyes sparkle with innocence as she said this, I had to hide my tears. Then, how about helping me prepare dinner?
Okay.
We stood side by side in the kitchen, working together. We made too much, didn't we?
Let's save some for Grandpa to eat tomorrow.
Even though we made more than expected, cooking with Victoria was a lot of fun.
It's delicious.
Victoria happily ate a lot of dinner. I ended up eating more than usual too, carried away by the moment. It wasn't anything special, but the day flew by just like that. I wonder if Lucas is all right. Though thoughts of Lucas occasionally crossed my mind, I focused on my conversation with Victoria to make sure she didn't notice. He arrived at the house around 1 a.m. after the date had changed. Of course, Victoria was sound asleep.
I'm sorry for waking you up at this time of night.
No, you must be tired. What's the right thing to say at a time like this? I quietly waited for Lucas's next words.
We divorced. I filed the divorce papers.
Lucas seemed much calmer than he had been during the day. He talked slowly about what happened. Lucas had decided he couldn't stay calm if it was just him and Layla, so he had a mutual friend come over at short notice. Then, a three-way discussion began. It turned out Layla's affair had been going on for 7 years. Lucas felt a strong disgust for her beyond shock.
To betray me and Victoria for 7 years. I want a divorce now.
Layla apologized deeply, but Lucas didn't forgive her.
Of course, I won't give up custody. And the compensation in the divorce settlement is $50,000. If you don't comply, I'll sue you and your affair partner.
It must have been the first time for Layla to see Lucas so angry. She looked down, trembling. I'm sorry. I'll comply. Just don't involve him, please. She said that, easily agreeing to Lucas's divorce conditions. Even then, Layla's remarks trying to protect her affair partner didn't even make Lucas angry anymore.
Lucas, we're on your side. You can rely on us for anything. Thank you, Mom.
At that moment, we heard the sound of someone going up the stairs.
Victoria? Did she overhear everything?
Our faces froze. We rushed to the bedroom on the second floor, but Victoria had locked the door from the inside and didn't respond to our calls.
I had intended to explain it to Victoria in a way that would minimize her hurt.
Lucas slumped.
But Victoria is already in high school. We can't lie to her. Let's talk about it again tomorrow, slowly.
We lay down on the guest room bed, but neither of us could sleep at all until morning came.
Victoria, breakfast is ready.
I called out to her from in front of her room, but there was no answer. The door was still locked, of course. Lucas, more worried about Victoria than the divorce itself, couldn't bring himself to eat.
You have to try to eat even if you're not hungry. It's going to be okay.
Though I said this to Lucas, I was also trying to convince myself. Then, I tried to eat some of the leftover soup from last night's dinner. It had tasted so good yesterday, but I was surprised at how little I could taste it now. Despite trying to act strong, it seemed I was more affected by the situation than I had thought. After a while, Ethan came home. As soon as I saw Ethan's face, I felt like crying. I'm home. Oh, Lucas is here too. Where's Victoria? What happened, Grace? Sensing the heavy atmosphere, Ethan asked for an explanation. While being mindful of Lucas, who was looking down, I explained everything that had happened to Ethan. He listened quietly with his arms crossed until the end.
Lucas, it's okay. We're here for you.
After saying that and patting Lucas on the shoulder, Ethan went upstairs.
Victoria, I'm home. I've heard about the situation. Why don't you and Lucas stay with us for a while? Just come out for now. Let's talk together.
After a while, the bedroom door opened. Led by Ethan, Victoria came downstairs with swollen eyes.
Lucas, why don't you live with us? We're still able to do household chores, and I think there are ways we can help you if we live together.
But I immediately knew what he wanted to say next. Grandparents can't replace a mother. That's true. I know all too well that we can't replace a mother, having been one myself. But even so, we wanted to somehow be a support for them. You are our beloved son and granddaughter. Family. We didn't know what we could do, but we wanted to be there for them no matter what. At that moment, Victoria, who had been looking down, lifted her face. I want to live here. I want to live with Grandma and Grandpa. Hearing Victoria's words, tears welled up in my eyes.
I'm so glad. It will be lively, and there will be a purpose to cooking meals.
Eating Grace's cooking will naturally make you feel better. Ethan also nodded strongly. Thank you, Dad, Mom. Lucas finally showed a relieved expression. This marked the beginning of our life together as four. Victoria had changed completely from the day before. It wasn't surprising. After learning she had been betrayed by her mother for 7 years. Lucas tried to remain calm in front of Victoria, but it was clear he was forcing himself, which was heartbreaking. We felt powerless. We couldn't heal the emotional wounds they had suffered. But we did our best to offer them a normal life as much as possible. The simple greetings of good morning, have a nice day, welcome back, good night, warm meals, neatly folded clothes, freshly aired bedding. At first, they forced smiles for our sake, but as time passed, their genuine smiles gradually became more frequent. We continued to watch over them. Then, on a holiday 3 months later,
Grandma, Grandpa, here, this is for you.
Victoria presented us with tickets to an art museum.
This is valid only for today, so go and come back by lunch.
Saying this, Victoria nearly pushed Ethan and me out the door. Behind her, Lucas stood quietly with a knowing smile. What's Victoria up to?
She's planning something.
I was happy to see that they had the mental space to plan something. Since Lucas's divorce, we had been living on edge. Always wondering how we could help them recover, even while pretending everything was normal. Our hearts were quite exhausted, I think. Today, going out with Ethan and being able to relax truly felt liberating. As instructed, we returned home by lunchtime, and the house was filled with delicious smells.
Look, I made this.
The dining table was crowded with fried chicken, pizza, sandwiches, and soup.
Isn't this amazing? Did you make all this, Victoria?
Ethan was astonished.
Dad just helped pour the soup. How come you can't cook at all even though you're Grandma's son?
Sorry, I'll try to do a bit more from now on. Watching the father-daughter exchange, Ethan and I smiled at each other.
Today is Grandparents' Day. Grandpa, Grandma, thank you for everything. Living here with the four of us, I'm really happy. Let's keep it up.
Victoria's full smile and Lucas's more reserved one behind her. Oh, today was Grandparents' Day. I found myself crying before I knew it, and Ethan, sniffling, must have been crying too. Ethan and I looked at each other and laughed.
Come on, try it. I put my 120% effort into this.
More than your best? Joking aside, Ethan and I began to eat the food Victoria had prepared.
Delicious.
It tastes like Grace's cooking. Victoria's cooking made us feel warm and happy inside. I understood how Victoria felt eating my cooking and being happy. It's being filled with the love of the person who made it that makes one feel enveloped in happiness.
Yay! I'm going to eat too.
Victoria bit into the fried chicken with gusto. She seemed to have regained her spirits. And Lucas, watching her with a serene and refreshing smile, seemed to be all right now too. Our family smiling together, that's my happiness. It hasn't changed, not then, not now. The family photo we took that day is displayed proudly in the living room. All four of us bursting with smiles, just looking at it brings happiness, such a photo it is.